from WCIA 3 Plus. With Ethan Holesha and Tyler Hill, this is Midwest Mashup.
Welcome into Midwest Mashup here at the WCIA 3 Plus studios. We have an awesome episode for you today. Myself and Ethan Holesha. Ethan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, great episode today. Definitely had a unique experience this past weekend in Indy. We'll get into that. But as far as our pro sports teams go, not a whole lot really going on. That's kind of been the trend, I'd say, this last month or so. But we're wrapping up some seasons. One of our teams is making a late push, but we'll get into all of it in this episode as we always do.
Plenty of fun stuff. St. Louis fans, I know you probably have been feeling left out if you've been keeping up with us, just because you don't have the NFL football team, don't have an NBA basketball team, and then the hockey team for much of this year was just not all that interesting. Now, part of that was due to injuries and some other things. Coming around now, we will talk about that, but first, Ethan said it, got to have an amazing experience in Indy. The Illinois Fighting Illini were in the Final Four. Our sports team, along with Amanda, there we go, Block Eye, along with Amanda and Ethan, got to take the trip to Indianapolis and cover it. I mean, Ethan, I just want to open up the floor to you. Talk about this because it seemed like it was such an amazing experience.
Yeah, and honestly, when everyone's asking me how it was honestly overwhelming. There was just so much happening. We got in Wednesday night and came back Sunday afternoon, so we were there for a while. And Illinois lost, and obviously, it would have been so sick for them to play in the Natty. It would have been the first time, in 21 years. It was still their first time in 21 years just being in the Final Four, but just to see some of the, players up close like this was the first day on Thursday talking to David Mirkovic. There was a million reporters. The first breakout we had in the locker room, it felt like there was 200 reporters in there. It was insane. And it was national people. We saw Charles Barkley and Ernie Johnson, and it was super surreal.
In the room with the Chuckster.
Yeah, and being next to some of these athletes, there was a breakout room where Mirkovic and Tomislav were answering questions, and we walked out behind them. I'm 6'3". I like to think that I'm a pretty tall guy.
Ethan is, I can attest, all of 6'3".
Yeah,
pretty well built.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Back at you. But these guys are monsters.
Yes.
They're over 7 feet tall. I'm like, holy smokes, these guys are just towering over me. But as far as the experience goes, I mean, just being there and for the open practice Friday, there was almost 20,000 Illinois fans there. It totally lucked out that it was in Indy. Illinois hasn't been in the Final Four, like I mentioned, in over 2 decades. The experience was unbelievable, and obviously they didn't perform super well in the game, but it was still competitive. They were in it till the end pretty much, and it was just definitely my coolest experience of working here. So I'm very, very blessed and grateful to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and within that, if there was a favorite moment, a memory that you hold on to, just what is the top thing that you got to do and be a part of?
I think the first thing that comes to my mind was Friday for open practice, just walking out there. That was the first time we walked out onto the court. And this is a picture actually from game day. Yeah. So that was Saturday. Being on the court after too, it was 1:32 in the morning Eastern time there. We were working late, and there's me and Glenn. You guys don't want to know who would have won that jump ball. I know me and Glenn had a little back and forth on Twitter about that, but he doesn't want to know the truth.
If we're looking at just the tail of the tape, 6'3", played club volleyball.
Yeah, man, and we've hooped together once,
versus 5'11", 6 foot.
Yeah, that might be pushing it for Glenn a little bit.
I was going to be nice.
Yeah.
I didn't want to air out, there was no yardstick out there, nothing to be a reference off of, so I was going to give him all of it.
Yeah.
5'9".
And then, pretty much. But we were close to the court up until maybe 10 minutes before tip-off. Yep. Honestly, didn't get to watch a ton of the game just because I was helping run live shots and doing things of that nature. But just even being up in the 500 level for a little bit, in the press level, it was so cool and just surreal. And even the upper bowl of the stadium, during the game, it literally felt like it was 80% Illinois fans. It was crazy.
Yeah, you could really feel, because I was not in Indianapolis, but I was at a watch party back in Urbana for the game, and you could just feel how much it meant. Fans living and dying with every missed shot, every made shot, every comeback, every shot that rolled around the rim for it felt like 10 or 15 seconds and then rolled out. They were on edge the entire game. Mm-hmm. The place erupted. I'm sure it was like this in the stadium too, but when they cut it to 4 with, I think, about 2.5 minutes left, that's where you feel like, okay, they can actually They have not played good at all, but they have a chance. They're still in this game.
Yeah, they
then
went on a nice little run there towards the end of the game.
Yeah, and then for me, I was interested to see when you thought the game was over, because for me, it was when it was an offensive possession, shot goes up, miss, offensive rebound, Caravan hits the three, puts them up 7 with, I think, a little under a minute left.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I was just like, okay, this is going to be too much. I think the game's over.
Yeah, because then right after that, Wagler like came down and hit a 3, but it was kind of to that point where it was like the lead is 7, the lead's 4. Like it was kind of just going back and forth. But I agree, like if Illinois would have got that rebound and you're down by 4 with like a minute left.
Because then Wagler hits the 3, you're down 1.
Yeah,
right? And
exactly.
so that's a completely different game and completely different thing to try and come back from. But when you're just trading threes at that point, I think when Wagler hit it, it was down to 30 seconds left in the game at that point.
Right. And you're down 2 possessions, and then you have to foul. And honestly, credit to UConn, like they were hitting their free throws.
They were nails, man.
Stretch.
Yeah, because Reed hit him down the stretch. He's normally not a good free throw shooter.
I know. And I'm like, this is the guy you want at the line, and he was moaning.
And he was just nails. And he was nails all tournament. I mean, he didn't play as good in the Michigan national title game because Mara's an absolute monster at 7'3". But I mean, I think if UConn would have won, he was going to be the most outstanding player. Like he was just a dog all 100%. Tournament. I mean, I know David had the quote before the game. He hasn't seen 2 7-footers, so that maybe added a little bit of fuel to the fire there. But he played really well in that game.
Honestly, it was funny like when Courtney put that tweet out, because it was like she put out the whole quote and he gave Reed his flowers for like the first 30 seconds of that. But like the UConn fan base was really running with that. They're like, David is not taking him seriously. Like you guys already lost to UConn. But yeah, I mean, Taurus Reed, you know, guy that started at Michigan, started at Michigan for 2 years, and then UConn the last 2 years, and he really blossomed just like throughout the season. Outstanding player, but you know, even with Illinois shooting so poorly, they held UConn to only 35% from the floor. They gave themselves a chance to win. So I'm happy it wasn't a blowout. It's unfortunate that they didn't win, because I mean, Monday would have been crazy, and I would imagine it would still be majority Illinois fans. But I feel like for programs like Arizona and Illinois that aren't making the Final Four all the time, like, you know, with UConn, it's like, yeah, the fans are excited, but that was their 3rd national championship game in the last 4 years. And Michigan's a team that made it multiple times in the 2010s. Finally, you know, got their first win since the late 80s. But I think for Illinois, just because, like I mentioned, it was in Indy, it's so close to Champaign, and they're not, you know, Illinois is a good basketball program, but they're not in that position all the time.
Right. They're not a blue blood, hey, we're making it every single year type thing. We have a team, at least, that has the talent to do it. So I think that this is a great year. Keaton Wagler in this game with 20 points, 2 for 10 from 3, which I think is pretty much, that just sums up the team, right? Just didn't shoot well from the outside. That happens in football stadiums. And I wonder. The
rims, man.
Rims were tight, especially that left rim was just not good. And then you even saw in the national championship game too, the same thing was happening. And so I don't know if it was off in how it was angled, if it was tightened in too much to not have enough give. The football stadium always plays into it just because it's so different shooting in there compared to a basketball stadium. And I wonder if this, I know Brad and Tyler Underwood have both collaborated on this type of offense, which produces shooting a lot of threes. And that for a regular season and over, you know, a 40-game season is great. I wonder if this makes them tweak it at all, just knowing, hey, the tournament is, you know, you're 1 game and you're out, so you can't maybe rely on shooting 30, 40 threes and just saying, hey, we're going to make them, because if you have an off shooting night, what happens? And then if you get to the Final Four, you're in a football stadium, you know that's tougher to shoot in. It was tougher for every team, really, throughout this entire Final Four. Do you add a little bit more of an inside presence? Because really the best offense, I would say, of this game was Tommy in the post. Like, that was where they made their comeback.
It's so funny that you say that, because I feel like throughout the season, it's like you see Tommy and he's a 7-foot guy that likes to play on the perimeter a lot, but when he's in the post and there's mismatches, he gets it done down low.
I mean, great touch around the rim. He, like you said, is 7 foot with, I think he has a greater than his height wingspan, so he gets that hook shot off, and it's just really tough to block or contest.
Yeah, and even in instances like where he's, you know, maybe missed his first shot attempt, he's great at going and getting his own rebound and, you know, those second chance points. So It's interesting because I feel like, especially the last few years, they've been so set in their ways with either like, hey, we're either going to shoot in the paint or it's going to be perimeter. It's going to be a ton of perimeter shots.
Right, very math-based approach. Yeah.
I honestly do like that Wagler was still shooting it like while he was struggling, because a lot of those shots were like just going in and out.
I was going to say,
you know
he
what
had
I
a couple
mean?
that
Like, they were right there.
right there, and if two of those drop right, it's a completely different game.
Yeah. So to answer your question right now, if I had to, I would say no, because it's like, hey, this formula got us to the Final Four. But if there is one gripe on this Illinois team, it's that they weren't physical enough down low, like just during the season.
Yeah.
And I would think I'd agree to your point with that. But I don't know if they're gonna. And you're not even saying completely tweak it, but just have a little bit more of that going forward. I would personally like to see that. I just don't know if it's
But
gonna
it's
happen.
tough to argue with the results, right? Because if
Yeah.
I'm talking to them, I'm sure they would go, hey, I mean, we lost this game, but we got to the Final Four. We had, a top 5 ranked offense in Ken Palm, the top offense for most of this year. And
efficiency-wise, yeah.
like it's tough to argue with that type of resume from the offense this year. And it might even be just a personnel thing where can we just have one guy that is electric off the bounce? Keaton is really good off the bounce, maybe not elite, right? Just because he's not as big at this point. I think that's a thing that he can develop, and he did a good, not great job of that in this game. But do you get, I don't know, just some guy who really is a good player at attacking, slashing, that kind of thing? Maybe that's something that can be added for next year's roster. Again, the portal right now is, I think 1,500 players are in right now.
Yeah, it's insane. Like even Dre, though, he was a guy that was playing really well, like just cutting and towards the rim. But, he's probably the biggest question mark going into this season, if he's going to be back. Retaining all these guys, like I feel like the core right now for Illinois is great. You have the twins, you have Mirkovic, Andre. Obviously, you're losing Ben and Kylan, but it's like you could theoretically keep a lot of those guys. Now, with being in the Final Four, is NIL going to play a factor? Are these guys going to want to get paid more? But with all that being said, great run still. Like you made the Final Four. It was awesome, and the experience in Indianapolis was I don't even know. It blew me away for sure.
So glad you got to do that. It looked like a ton of fun. We're done with this because we are not a college basketball podcast. We really just did this because Ethan got to go.
Yeah, boots on the ground. It was sick.
It was a ton of fun. Looked like a ton of fun. For those of you who don't know, then Michigan ended up beating UConn ultimately for the NCAA title. For more coverage, anything, Ethan got, tens of dozens of web articles about this. You can check out our sports teams coverage. They're even still getting more quotes just from Brad, players, things like that as we move into roster building season. So you can check all that out online. We will get back to our regularly scheduled programming after the break. Welcome back into Midwest Mashup as we get into our MLB coverage here. I'm Tyler Hill. As always, with me is Ethan Halesha. Ethan, we're going to start with the Cardinals because I just thought with how they've started this season, they deserve it. They're going to start this off. Well, first of all, they're 6-5, which puts them at 4th in the NL Central, somehow behind the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are having, probably the most surprising season, I would say, in the MLB, just with the perception of that organization. But the Cardinals start this one off, 2-1 win over the Mets. And the big thing that I want to talk about is the young guys. We talked about them last week, but they're continuing to rake. J.J. Weatherholt is really who we're starting with here. 268, 380 on-base percentage, 3 stolen bases. He scored in this 2-1 win. Electric. Just everything you wanted to see, and he's keeping it going. It's not just a one-week wonder for him at this point.
Yeah, and as a top prospect, going into the spring training this year, people are thinking maybe he won't even be on the opening day roster. And the decision to bring him on when they did, I feel like it's been great, at least so far. A lot of times rookies will come up and start playing well in the first month or so of their careers, but, they tail off. But from what I've seen so far, JJ he looks like a guy that's been in the league for at least 3 or 4 years, super composed. Like you mentioned, he's getting the stolen bases, the average as well. He's had the big moments. He's had a walk-off hit already.
Yep.
Pretty much everything that you've wanted and that he's been asked, he's been able to do so far, and it's been awesome to see.
Yeah, great outing as well from Matthew Liberatore. 6 innings pitched, only 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run off a solo shot to Juan Soto. I was going to say Juan Soto hitting a solo shot, and you just tip your hat and say that's a really good hitter.
Yep.
Gordon Griselfo gets the win on this one just because at that point it was tied 1-1. Walk off from Mason Wynn. Weatherholt the one scoring on that one. So very good win.
Dude's just getting on base, man.
He's getting on base. He's making stuff happen. And the other guy that we really wanted to hit, Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
Jordan Walker is raking. He's leading the team in batting average, in homers, in RBIs. I think he's leading in WAR as well. Just right now, he legitimately is the best player on this team, which is not something you could have said any of his past years.
No, and the Cardinals, I mean, listen, we're 11 games in, but they have a winning record. And honestly, you mentioned the Pirates at the beginning. This is another team with like young guys and just talent, and I think that's been the driving force so far. But Jordan Walker's pop off the bat has been unbelievable. I mean, you look at the guy; he's a big, strong guy. You know, like that's a lot of what was, you know, people were kind of drooling over him as a prospect, but it just seems like this series finally putting the pieces together. And he's just really getting it done at the plate, and it's been exciting to watch him hit.
Yeah, the big thing, I was listening to Cardinals podcast, and I forget the name of it, so I'm very, very sorry. But the big thing
no
is
plugs.
Yeah, no free ads. Yeah. You better pay us, homie. So the big thing for him was his plate discipline. So he was swinging at a ton of pitches outside the plate, and then not swinging at pitches that were strikes. This year, it's completely flipped. He is taking way more balls. He is hitting or swinging at way more strikes, and that has just led to a lot of very solid contact, again, where he's now hitting the best average on the team and for the best power, and so he's really fulfilling a lot of that potential that he brings also with just being a plus defender, being a plus athlete out there. Now some of that skill is catching up.
I'd like to like do more research and just see like if he took a different approach, if he worked with a different coach this offseason, because a lot of times when a guy just like completely flips around your plate tendencies, you know, something specifically I feel like has to go into that, because he's been in the league for a few years now, and that was always the gripe on him, you know, at the plate. And for a lot of guys with power, you know, it's like, you know, their plate discipline isn't great. We're seeing it even with Luis Robert with the Mets. Like, you know, his plate discipline wasn't great with the Sox. Sometimes it could be a change of scenery, but, you know, with Walker, he's still a very young guy, and he's been with the Cardinals so far his whole career. But I wonder if there's like a specific coach that he was working with this offseason, or just a different approach that he's taking. But listen, whatever you're doing, it's working. So just keep it going. Yeah, exactly.
So the Cardinals in this week lost the series to Detroit. Right now are 1-1 in the series with the Nationals. They are playing today at 3:05 p.m. as we record Wednesday to see who can decide. That series would be a huge series win if the Cardinals can make that happen. Yeah. Any other high points, low points, things that you want to point out before we move on to the Chicago Cubs?
I mean, Liberatore had a decent outing in the 7-6 win. Cardinals won their most recent game in extras, but Walker had last two games he has 2 home runs.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, that's pretty much, we already hit on it, but you know, he's a guy that is, you know, hitting pretty well for average, as you said, but he's also, you know, the pop off the bat's been awesome. So that's just keep it up.
Everything that you want to see. This is because even if the record starts tanking, this is what you want to see if you're a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, the young guys. You know?
Everyone away. Our veteran has been in the league for like 4 years. That's the vet on our team. Can the young guys look really good? I don't know if you could have picked a better start to the season for them. I don't realistically. This is as good as it can get. Not so for the Chicago Cubs, though.
No,
Cubs,
dude.
5 and 6.
It's been a weird start.
That puts them at 5th in the NL Central, so behind the St. Louis Cardinals.
Dead last.
Nobody had that on their bingo card. And the schedule has not been tough. This is the end of the Angels series. They do get the win 6-2, and so they win that series. The Guardians are playing good, but lose that series. Lost the Rays, win at the Rays. So that's split 1-1. They have the game to decide that series today at 5:40. I mean, before we get into a massive injury, is there just one thing that you can put your finger on and say, hey, this is why the Cubs have started so slow? And if they can fix this, maybe their playoff, pennant, World Series hopes can come back.
Yeah. Outside of these last 2 games, the most recent 2 games, even this was a gripe we had last week. The bats, they just haven't really been able to put it together. We've seen guys like PCA have 3-hit games. Bregman had a couple solo shots in a game last week, but it seems like in some of these games, maybe 1 or 2 guys will have a good game, and then it's kind of just like the rest of the guys are MIA. It's just like I don't know what's going on. And looking at this past week, you score 1 run in a loss.
I was just about to do the same thing.
Or one run in back-to-back games, and it's like, yeah, a 1-0 win is nice, but I mean, 95% of the time you're not going to win a game when you score 1 run. So that would be my biggest thing.
Yeah, because it starts with that six-run win with the Angels, but then it's 1 run, 5 runs, 4 runs, 9 runs to beat the Rays. So that one's the outlier, but just not getting it done with the bats, especially for the talent level that they have.
Yeah, you have guys like PCA and Bregman who you're bringing in,
Yeah.
and you know what
And
they bring
paying
to
a
the
ton
table.
of money, man.
Yeah.
Like ton of money. I mean, Michael Bush, I would hit on as well. Is just a guy that is not living up to the batting expectations that he's set for himself in his career. So really need to look there. And then you need your bats to be good anyway. You really need them to be good if your pitching staff's not going to be great. And that leads us into the injury. Cade Horton started with some forearm tightness.
Yeah.
Now moved on to a UCL injury. We'll see how long that keeps him out. If does that turn into full Tommy John surgery out for the year? That is still up in the air. But regardless, he's going to be out for a while, and that's not good for this Cubs team.
And as soon as yesterday they said the MRI strain was not good, I'm like, this is not good going forward. And it did come out yesterday that he's going to have surgery on his UCL, will miss the entire season. Don't know if it's Tommy John surgery, but that's brutal. I mean, this is a key piece of your rotation. It's
Which it's even worse. You don't have Justin Steele, and it's something that we've hit on all year. Can you hang on until you get Steele? Can you hang on until you get Steele? Can you be maybe just above 500, get Steele back, and you're good? I mean, now this is one of your better pitchers that is going to be out. And I mean, a lot now is falling on Shota, a guy that we'd like, not love.
Yeah.
I think is a good way to put it. And so I think you've backed yourself into a corner now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to trade for somebody.
Yeah, or
I guess try and hang on.
Sign a free agent. I've seen Lucas Giolito as a name that's been thrown around, but he's a guy that's kind of entering the back half of his career now.
And like they're not signed for a reason. Is somebody off the street going to really make that much of a difference for you?
Right. They're going to have to probably throw Ben Brown back into the rotation. He wasn't very solid last year, but it's like you said, these guys, some of these pitchers that they have now are guys that we like and don't love. It's like, Shota showed greatness pretty much in his rookie year, but last year really struggled with the home run ball, had a pretty bad second half of the campaign in 2025. So they don't have many dudes right now in their rotation. And the bad part for them is that the Cubs are definitely in win now mode. Like they're the favorite to win the Central.
No doubt.
Coming into the season, and it's like, the bats are inconsistent, and now the injuries to the rotation, it's just not ideal. So I hope they can find a replacement. But like you said, it's going to be hard to find an MLB caliber starter on a playoff team coming off the street.
It is. And so that's why I'm saying I think it's going to have to be a trade, and now you're going to have to give up assets. You're mortgaging even more of your future to try and win now.
Yep. Not ideal.
It's a tough spot to be. It really is. Not as tough as the Chicago White Sox, who we will talk about after this break.
Yep.
Here as we finish up our baseball coverage, and that means we're talking White Sox. Now, the White Sox, 4-7, fourth in the AL Central, still have the lowest run differential in Major League Baseball.
And that 10-0 loss to start the week doesn't help.
Yeah, not great. But Munetaka Murakami.
Dude, dog.
From Sarah Langs on X, Munetaka Murakami's 4 home runs are the most by a Japanese-born player in his first 8 career MLB games. That's more than Shohei.
I was going to say.
That's more than Ichiro.
Yep.
That's more than a lot of very good Japanese players that have come to the MLB. That's been a pipeline for years now, really since the turn of the 21st century.
Yep.
And he just looks like a dog at the plate. And that's what you want, especially for a contract that is really, really reasonable.
Yeah, dude. And you hit the nail on the head there. And I saw today on social media, they gave him his plaque. He now has 250 career home runs, like in the pros, if you're counting
nice. Yeah,
NPB and then MLB. Obviously, he only has 4 home runs, but still very cool. And he's only 25. So what he did overseas, like in the pros, that's clearly translating here. You mentioned he's batting 226, but that OBP 342 will take it. He's drawing
whatever.
He's drawing walks too. So it's like the plate discipline, for guys that are power hitters, it's never fantastic. But the fact that he's still drawing walks and getting on base, it's been huge. I feel like every time I get a notification on my phone, it's either, someone scores Murakami to second. I'm like, this dude is on base all the time.
All the time.
It's awesome.
It's great. He's the lineup, and especially the front of the lineup. I was talking with our producer, Gunnar Olson, who also likes the White Sox. We're going to have him on at some point.
Yeah, dude, we
White
should
Sox.
for sure.
But it's just that front part of the lineup right now looks very good.
It does.
Back part, not as much. Pitching staff, definitely not as much.
Yeah.
But there is something to build on. And so even, again, if this ends up being a 70-win season, a 65-win season, you have some breakout stars, some people to really build around. Any big things that you want to hit on from this week? Actually, before you go, I thought this was just a funny stat, but 65 runs allowed is the third most in the MLB. They're bottom 5 in every single pitching stat.
Yeah, the pitching's been bad.
It's bad. You were talking about Shane Smith earlier. That's probably some news that we should talk about as well.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats from his start yesterday, you're like, okay, like he had 8 strikeouts in under 4 innings, like not bad. But it's like you do a little deeper looking, 99 pitches in 3 2/3, 5 walks.
That's a lot.
That's brutal, man. That's just not having command. And the news that Tyler mentioned got sent down to AAA this morning.
Yeah.
2 weeks after being the opening day starter. A similar thing happened last year. I can't remember exactly who started for the Sox, but it was a couple weeks, sent him back down to the minors. This is a bottom 3 rotation. Might be the worst in baseball.
Yeah.
And we knew it was
fighting for it, for sure.
Knew it wasn't good going into the season, but I mean, Shane Smith already has like a 10 ERA this year in a few starts. So.
The team's at a 6 ERA right now. That's just giving up 6 runs a game is not a good recipe for winning at all.
And even if like Tyler mentioned, if the top of your lineup is hitting, giving up 6 runs a game, you're not putting yourself in a good position. So.
Although swept the Blue Jays.
Dude, yeah, and they were just in the World Series. Yeah. That's awesome. Ended that series with a 3-0 win. Davis Martin, 6 innings, 6 Ks, no runs. That's huge. And Murakami had an absolute monster home run, 431 feet in the second game.
Dude.
Yeah, dude. So it's went on a walk-off winner because that was the first home series of the season. They started off on the road for a couple of series. Baby. But yeah, man, do not let the Sox get hot in the rate, apparently.
That's the saying. Everybody knows that saying. Everybody says that.
That's my favorite saying.
Is don't let the Sox get hot in the rate. The last thing before we leave baseball here, and the Orioles will be the next game for the Sox. They're in the midst of that right now. They have lost the first 2 games of that 3-game series, so trying to avoid the sweep of from Baltimore. Excuse me. I just thought this was an interesting article. ESPN ranked the 30 MLB teams based on watchability. So it was like young stars, the team being good, the park being historic, the broadcast. It was a lot of things that went into it. It's not purely just, is your team good, is your team bad? They had the White Sox at 27, the Cardinals at 25, and then the Cubs at 8. Ethan, are those fair rankings for these 3 teams?
Honestly, relatively yes, but I would even put the Sox. I feel like there is some buzz around the White Sox this year, just having a younger core.
I think the White Sox and the Cardinals, both, were like. I was surprised by how I thought they would be back half for sure, but I thought they might be more in like the high teens.
Yeah, and if a lot of people do knock the Sox because they're broadcast, like John Triffin. He's kind of goofy, but honestly, he's growing on me. And Steve Stone's a guy that's been there for a million years, like great announcer, but. I mean, if they're taking young talent into the picture, how can you not put the Sox and Cardinals up a little higher? Like, these teams are literally like, hey, these are the young teams that are rebuilding right now. Like, I feel like fans of these teams are watching them to see the young stars develop. And you could even put the Cubs. I mean, obviously, they haven't had the best start to the season, but they might be top 5 if you factor in the players they have, the Wrigley Field. Just the Cubs fans always show up it feels like every game is sold out. So it's just like, I guess loosely, it's like, I could see why you would rank it this way, but especially for the Sox and the Cardinals, I mean, give them a little bit more respect.
Bump them up. Give them a little more love, man. No, I'm right there with you. I think that they should be pushed up into those, late teens, maybe early 20s.
Yep.
And I do think the Cubs are in a pretty good spot, like top 10.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty solid. So the last thing that we wanted to do, I actually forgot we were going to do this. We meant to do this in opening day or opening week. We're going to our strike 3 calls, which is awesome with ABS.
Yeah.
I feel like this really fits in. So we're going to go to cam 4. Ethan, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And I want to see the full setup.
You want to see the pose?
Yes. I was going to say, stand up, full setup.
Little hands on knees.
Yep.
Here.
Yep.
I'm going to wait for the pitch to come in. Stand! I'm going to get one of those. I feel like the more like you're not actually saying a word, the better it is.
Something like that.
All right, let's see Tyler's.
And honestly, now I'm going way more theatrical than you did, so this is very interesting. You definitely and the other thing for me is you really need to be at an angle, I think, to make this work, right? Because I'll move the backpack here too. Because I just feel like as you lean into it, like this, you're not really locked in.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's more like a nonchalant.
You want to be right. You want to be here because I need to see the plate. I'm not trying to get ABS'd, right? Exactly. And so pitch comes, swing and a miss.
Wow, dude,
I want a leg kick,
dude,
pull back,
dude.
Gone.
you're gonna make some opposing hitters very upset.
Get out of my box.
But yeah, dude, you're back there, and just based on that call, you own the box back there.
That's really because it's my box. The game as an umpire, it's about me. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people think it's about the players, the
No.
teams, the winning and the ump.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, we saw that with Heine's ref in the national championship game. How do I make this about me? You know what I mean?
And so it's all about the call. I want a leg kick. I want a real big drawback. I
I
bow
like
hunt
it.
a little bit, and so it's like you're pulling back the
Dude.
bow. Three.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
feel
gonna
like
be my strike three
we're like good cop, bad cop with our calls there. You know.
I was gonna say when you did yours, I was like, oh, I'm going way out
Yeah.
there. But you gotta have a little fun out there. You
No,
know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
you're right.
You're out there in the sun.
I gotta loosen up a little bit. I
Right,
think.
right. You're out there in the sun. You're wearing all black. You know,
You're warm.
You're warm. Gotta have some fun with it.
Yeah,
And
man.
so I hope you guys like that. Well, we might even put a poll on Twitter seeing who.
Dude, honestly, and then like towards later in the season, maybe we could give our updated calls.
Oh,
you know?
I like that. Right at the All Star
do a little
break.
practicing, yeah.
All Star break. We revised this. No, I like that. We're gonna
Yeah,
put that
'cause
on the calendar and make sure
Let's do it.
that we get that in. That's all the baseball though, because when we get back, bing bong, the witch is dead. Who cares about the
Dude.
games that are being played right now in the
Yes,
NBA?
doesn't matter.
No one. Massive news for the Chicago Bulls.
Huge.
We will hit that next.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Midwest Mashup. The NBA teams for a while now have not been what I would call watchable teams, but we have some great news if you're a Bulls fan because the organization announced on Monday that they fired the vice president of basketball operations, Arturas Karnisovas, and general manager Mark Eversley. These were the two guys who were making all the personnel moves. They are gone. Ethan, first reaction.
Yeah, man, this is great. It just took way too long. It's like the
They had
tank took too long. We were 4 years late on the tank. How did this dude have a job for 6 years?
For 6 years.
It felt longer. We were
We thought it
talking
was
like
8.
eight.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is like, yeah, that's on par too. That he probably was here for 20 years. I don't know.
It was not good. And so we thought it'd be fun to rank the worst moves in this 6-year tenure because there's a lot. There really are. And so we'll go over
It's
all of them.
alarming.
We'll pick our favorite.
Yeah.
There's a lot to choose from. Before, just to be fair, I'm a journalist. You like to be fair. You like to get both sides.
Yeah.
There was a good move. They traded Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey, and I think they actually
Yes.
did get a pick in that, or they had like something on the Giddey side.
Was it
to
a
make
first
more
round?
Worth it. No, it
Yeah.
would never be a first round pick.
No, dude. Oh man.
So that was a legit good move, and it was a good move for
Yeah.
both teams. Caruso is a massive piece of Oklahoma City's defense. He won a title last year and was a huge part of that. And Giddey has revived his career. He looks like a completely different player in Chicago.
Yeah, he just has a bigger role too. I mean, OKC
Exactly.
is stacked.
Yeah,
You know?
and you weren't going to take the ball out of Shea's hands to put it in Giddey's hands for sure. So he gets more of that in Chicago. Good move. Okay, here we go. So we actually split these up into trades and signings, and then draft picks because there were so many. I thought it might be helpful to split it into these things.
I think it's a good call.
So I figured we'd ping pong back and forth. So we'll start with trades and signings. I'm going to start because this was the first one that I thought of. Lauri Markkanen traded to the Cavs for Derek Jones Jr. and what ended up being a late first round pick. If you remember, this is when Lauri had just started to play well because he didn't start his career very well. The Bulls were trying to play him at small forward.
Yeah, and the Bulls. That was like when he came in, it was just a dumpster fire.
It was a weird team.
Yeah.
They were playing him out of position. He was not like he's skilled enough offensively to kind of make it work, but defensively he was just getting exposed. They had figured some of that out. He was shooting the ball better, playing better, and immediately, boom, traded. Now he's an all-star, a fringe all-NBA level player for the Utah Jazz.
Yep.
Derek Jones Jr. no longer plays for the Bulls.
Yeah, he was on the Clippers. I think last I saw.
Did really nothing for the Bulls.
Yep.
He's a fine player now, but specifically did nothing for the Bulls, and that late first turned into nothing. So, heck of a move when you flip an all-star level player for Derek Jones Jr. and a late first. I'm going to kick it over to you, though. Trades and signings. What you got?
So we were talking during the break about the Io.
Dude.
Because Io, he's like even for the Bulls this year was having the best season of his career,
Yep.
and they're like, what if we just get rid of him? Like, what if we lose him? We're gonna get rid of him and Julian Phillips for Rob Dillingham, who shout out him had the best game of his career, but it's like that's a game that Io has on any given night probably. Got Leonard Miller, and then 4 second-round picks. We're like 4. That equates to like that's a lottery pick, dude. If we just trade for 10 second-round picks,
if you put them all together,
yeah. If you carry the one, no, dude. Io's balling out right now. Great complimentary piece
so well
in Minnesota, and Rob Dillingham will play 28 minutes one night. He'll play 12 the next night, and we're tanking. I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Very strange. So that's my next move. Just clearly a brilliant move by the front office there.
Yeah, and there's a YouTuber, the famous one. He's a Chicago Bulls fan. It's Kenny something. I'm forgetting his last name now. Kenny Beecham. There we go. Kenny Beecham. And I was watching his video last night because I was just trying to get a pulse of Bulls fans. What do they think? Obviously, other than just celebrating, right? Is there any other things? And he had a quote pulled up where AK at some point was like, second round picks, we don't need them over here. They're not worth anything. And that's so funny now in hindsight. Because the next move that I'm pulling from the trades and signings is that you got first for DeMar DeRozan, for Zach LaVine, for Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic, and Ayo Dosunmu.
That's insane. Like
all players, and there are some where it's like, okay, you didn't get a first for DeMar. He's older. He's on a contract.
Sure.
Whatever, fine.
But for LaVine, I feel like he was still like a fringe level
He was
all-star
putting up
player.
22, 24 points a game.
Like the fact that the Bulls,
Kobe White and Ayo definitely should have gotten you a first.
Oh yeah. But they're like, honestly, the more second round picks we stack, who needs a first? You know, we have all these in our back pocket. But the fact they got a first for Markkanen and not for LaVine or Ayo and Kobe,
Crazy.
That's like, what happened? What like you got strong armed so bad in these moves. How is that even possible?
I don't understand. I really don't. So we got one more, at least in the doc here, unless there's any other one that you want to hit. We got one more.
There's probably a ton.
Trades and signings. What you
got? Yeah, I mean, you know, just bringing in Vooch, getting rid of Wendell Carter and Otto Porter. I think what really hurts is the 2 first-round picks that we got rid of there.
Because Wendell Carter's a fine player.
Yep.
But if you would have just given up Wendell Carter and Otto Porter Jr. to get Vooch, it'd have been like, that's a fine trade. You probably even win that trade, honestly.
Yeah. So we bring Vooch in, and then under, Ack's leadership, 1 playoff win in 6 years. That's not great.
And the worst thing, even more than just the lack of success with Vooch, one of those picks ended up being the 7th overall pick, which ended up being Franz Wagner, who
is a stud.
He's been hurt in and out of lineup, so that's been tough. But when he plays, I mean, he would be the best player on the Bulls right now, and I don't think that would be a question.
And it's funny, like, yeah, no, definitely not a question. When Vooch was here, it's like the fans didn't really like Vooch that much for whatever reason. It was just like he was always a solid player, but they're like, he's not really great in the post. He's kind of, he played the perimeter a lot.
Yep,
was a good shooter for a big man, but I mean, at the time, it's like, oh, we're getting this all-star center, but what resulted from that? Like, we didn't get anything out of that?
Just pain.
Yes,
just
pain.
What is your favorite trades and signings?
Favorite?
Yeah, or like favorite bad moves. Like in your opinion, the worst. I guess I kind of said that wrong, but like which one do you just really latch on to?
Yeah. As a whole, just the whole like trend of not getting first round picks. It's like it literally felt like, because going into the trade deadline, it's like surely we'll get a first, right? Like they were playing.
We're rebuilding. We need picks.
Like they're literally playing into the meme. They're like, how can we get as many second round picks as possible? Newsflash: second round picks don't usually turn into anything.
Nothing, dude.
I mean, Jokic is like a diamond in the rough. Like, you are not going to find these guys. There's a reason they're being picked in the second round.
Correct.
So it's just like, man, I just think as a whole, not getting any first round picks is, in hindsight, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I was going to go with the Vooch trade just because you're trading Wendell Carter Jr., who's, I would say, a comparable player to Vucevic.
Yeah.
Otto Porter, and then Franz Wagner, another player on top of that. I think it ended up being Jet Howard, who has not played amazing. So
yeah.
But even if you just would have straight up traded Vooch for Franz Wagner, that would have been like, that's a horrible trade. It's also all of that on top of it.
Yeah.
The no first, though, I think is just funnier. Like that.
It's hilarious.
I just,
it's great.
How do you not? I think it really was that when they got like Rob Dillingham and Jaden Ivey back, he's like, well, these are in a way first round picks because they were picked in the first round. And you're sitting there like, dude, please stop.
With those two players, too, it's like Dillingham gets here and he's like, I need to find my confidence back. I have no confidence.
And they're like, what if we didn't play you?
Yeah, and then, great way to build your confidence is to not play you at all. And then Jaden Ivey plays 4 games. He's gone. It's just like, obviously, like some things happened that obviously they didn't expect, but it's just like just bundling that into everything else. It's like it's so Bulls. It's unbelievable.
It's great. So when we come back, we're not done because we haven't even gotten into draft mess ups.
But wait, there's more.
Under AK.
Yeah.
We will hit all of those, and then we'll do a little bit of hockey. But honestly, we're sitting on these Bulls
this is great, man.
We'll do all that when we come back. Welcome back into Midwest Mashup as we continue to analyze the Bulls front office this past 6 years. Not a premium job done. Honestly, I think if we would have had me and you in there, we could have made something happen.
I think so too. And I'm not like
front office.
Like they genuinely did one thing right in the 6 years they were there. That's impressively bad.
So bad. So we hit all of the signings and trades that we thought were bad. We're gonna go to the draft.
Arguably worse.
I was gonna say I was gonna ask you which one you think might be worse, and I think it's the trades, but the fact that it's close is wild. We'll start with the pick of Dalen Terry, and Dalen Terry was a guard coming out of Arizona. He was supposed to be. He was kind of sold because he wasn't an older prospect, but he wasn't a one and done. Like he'd been in college for a few years, so he's like, hey, come in, plug and play, 3-and-D type player. Will instantly help you. Like if you're trying to compete, his ceiling is not super high.
Yeah.
But he'll be able to come in and play really good defense, be a shooter on the perimeter immediately. He proceeds to go 3-2-1, averaging 11 minutes per game, and not even showing any flashes where at any point you go, dude, oh, maybe there's something more there. He just played bad the whole time.
His tenure with the Bulls was just him getting sent up and down from the pros to the G League every week or so. It just felt like, and obviously for good reason. 11 minutes a game for a first-round pick, that's brutal. I mean, obviously he's 18th overall, so it's not like this is a top 10 guy, top 5 guy. It's not like you're going into this thinking, hey, we have a superstar, but, I mean, it couldn't be more of a lackluster player. Truly.
It's just not good.
Yeah.
There were some other players there that he could have taken. The other one, when you said not a top 10 pick, I'm so glad you said that because this is a top 5 pick. Patrick Williams, taken 4th overall out of Florida State. Fun fact, not a starter.
Nope.
For Florida State.
And it's like, hey, Devin Booker didn't start in college. Like
Scotty Barnes.
Great players. No. Not the case here. Not the case for quote unquote baby Kawhi, who's still on the Bulls. Still on the Bulls somehow. He's still here.
Dude, you know what's crazy too? I didn't really clock this because he always looked a little smaller on the court, and he's listed as like a power forward wing. But what's so funny is you would think that you're getting sold on this guy who's like measurables, athleticism. He's a little raw, which is why I didn't start, but the potential. He's 6'6".
Yeah, he's the same height as Ty Rodgers on Illinois.
Kawhi's like 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan,
and just the biggest hands you've ever seen.
That are the size of literally the computer screen I'm in front of right now. It just wasn't there. I don't understand what they were sold on.
Yeah, dude, you have a power forward who's the same height as Michael Jordan.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying, dude.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned, no starts in college. It's just funny, like we were gonna talk about the Bulls Pacers game. He had 0 points in 13 minutes, 0-4 from the floor.
Pacers
what does he bring to the table?
I don't understand because it's not like he's a very good defender either.
And then it's like, you know what? Hey, this guy has not only plateaued but arguably regressed in the first years of his career.
Yeah.
Let's give him $90 million.
5 years.
Bam!
$90 million contract.
Now it's like, hey, I secured the bag. I have no ambition to get better.
Is this the worst contract in the NBA?
It's one of the worst in NBA history.
It's top 5 at least.
It's really bad.
For right now, it's bad. The other thing that's bad too, so these are some of the players that were taken after him. You said Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton was taken after him.
Yep.
Denny Avdia, who is a very controversial player because he shoots a ton of free throws. He is not liked by people. Would have definitely been a better pick than
SGA,
Patrick Williams.
Same thing, yeah.
Devin Vassell, Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah.
I mean, man. And you got Patrick Williams on a 5-year, $90 million contract. I believe there's still 3 years left on that contract.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't know what he did to earn that money. I don't know if he has blackmail on someone. I've never seen a more just a less justified contract. Like, what has he didn't do anything.
There weren't any flashes.
He didn't do anything.
You couldn't even point back and be like, man, he had that 40-point game once that
No.
we're like betting on, or like, oh, he shut down KD that one time. It's like there was just nothing.
No, he had in this recent stretch of games, I forgot exactly what game it was, but I think he had a career high and it was like 26 points or something. And I was like,
Him and Rob Dillingham.
and like, what is going on, dude?
It's just not great. Not to be outdone though, and I will say this one's a little unfair because
it's
the rookie year. We're talking about Noah Essengay, so he was a forward hybrid kind of big player out of Germany. I think is where he was coming out of overseas. He got hurt. He had shoulder surgery. He didn't play at all this year, so this is a little unfair. Also, it's really tough to judge careers off of 1 year.
Correct.
But all that said, he hasn't played a single minute this year. In the summer league, he got dunked on. That one
Picture. I went to Arizona to visit my buddy, and on their fridge they have a magnet of that photo. It's hilarious.
So the minutes he did play, quote unquote, didn't go very well. He didn't look great.
Nope. Yeah, he didn't play in the NBA yet, right?
Nope, not a single minute.
Sick, dude.
And so, but the other thing that makes this really bad. So for those of you who don't follow the NBA really closely, draft night, the Pelicans trade up to pick 13 with the Atlanta Hawks to draft Derek Queen. They trade an unprotected first-round pick next year. Now, what that means is that whatever the pick is, it goes to the Hawks. Because a lot of times, like we've talked about this with the Pacers pick in this draft, they protected it 1 through 4 and 10 through 14. So if it lands in those spots, you keep your pick.
Yep.
Teams will do that so that, if you trade it and then for whatever reason you end up being horrible, it doesn't hurt you. Reportedly, the Bulls turned this down. They could have had the Pelicans unprotected first round pick to move back. I think it would have been 6 spots to 18.
Yep.
AK said no. And right now, that pick is 6th overall in lottery odds. And so
just the Bulls.
It could end up being the 14th pick. You don't know with the lottery.
Yeah.
But just the process to not accept an unprotected first round pick, to stick and pick for Noah Essengay, it's not good.
Dude. It's like,
is he allergic to first round picks also? Is that
apparently?
Do we need to get this checked out? Allergy test. Maybe
it's just like
we can test AK for an allergic reaction to first round picks.
Yeah, it's like 4th overall, it's like, yeah, let's take a guy that hasn't started. Let's take a shot in the dark on an international guy. Obviously we've seen success.
And he was a project. The whole thing on him.
I know, and it's not like a guy
project.
It's like Luke has played in the pros since he was 13. This kid's amazing.
A prodigy, yeah.
And Noah's, like you said, he's a project. Did Ack think he'd be around for the 5 years that it's going to take for this guy to get in the NBA starting rotation? You would never want your rookie to get hurt and miss his entire rookie year, especially if they're a project and need skill development and strength development. And it's just strange. I would love to know the thought process or lack thereof when just going with these picks.
I just don't understand. You're getting a free first round pick from a Pelicans team that has not been good.
Yeah, objectively bad. So
I just don't get it. And they are saying, hey, we're just really sold on this guy, and that has not worked out either. Players drafted after Illinois' own Will Riley, who is having a very good past 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Yeah, probably
going
to make an all-rookie team.
Derek Queen, who was traded up for, we can make fun of that trade. It's a bad trade. He's turned out to be a solid player so far in his rookie year. Carter Bryant is playing very well for the Spurs in limited minutes. Ryan Kalkbrenner is going to be an all-rookie center and is doing very good for Charlotte. Yep. Walter Clayton Jr., who didn't play a ton for the Jazz because they had a ton of guards, but now that he has been traded to Memphis, has started to look very solid. And then I think you put KJ in there. That would have just been cool.
Because he's also kind of worked his way into starting some games for Miami. Mm-hmm. So it's like he's on the NBA court. Same cannot be said for the Bulls
for Noah Essengay. So. Exactly. So we did it for the trades. Now we're doing it for the draft. I'll start because I asked you first last time. I think the Patrick Williams one
it has
to be. I don't think it can be competed.
It's unbelievable.
And we'll see because Essengay could be worse. If he never plays
he could be like a Kevin White who just never plays.
But even if that happens, that's with the 12th pick. This was with the 4th overall pick, the only premium pick in this front office's purview, the one that they were handling.
I'm just thinking Jason Tatum was taken 3rd overall.
And they messed it up.
So bad. So bad. Yeah, man. That's bad.
And then doubled down with the contract, which we already talked about. But it it just blows my mind.
Yeah, and it's like
He's averaging 7-3-1, by the way.
yeah, you make a bad situation so much worse somehow. Like this guy is not average. You can't even have him as a starting player on a non-playoff team, and it's like here's $90 million. Here's the next 5 years.
Has anyone ever?
Thank you.
Has anyone ever gotten more without starting basketball games than Patrick Williams?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't start in college.
That's what I'm saying. Like
4th overall, doesn't play well objectively for the first couple of years of his career. Here's $90 million. Sick, dude.
All right, well, we spent
Thanks,
enough time
Zach.
on that.
Yep.
Just your tanking update. Bulls are currently 9th in lottery odds. Pacers are in the number 2 spot.
Yep.
The Wizards have overtaken them because the Pacers beat the Wizards, and the Wizards are just really bad.
They're so bad.
They're so bad. We have 2 minutes to do NHL.
Yep. Let's just do like brief storylines, I think.
Yeah, I think I know you're a massive Blackhawks fan. I feel like we can skip the Blackhawks.
We can.
They're just not
bad.
playing well.
Yeah, the goaltending's bad. The defense is bad. Bertuzzi's scoring, which is cool.
That
That's
is
pretty
cool.
much
Yeah.
it. Pretty much it.
Frondell got rocked in the Oilers game.
Yeah,
That's
he
the other
did.
thing that was really funny. The fight training, I guess, isn't working.
Nope.
St. Louis Blues, though, 33-32-12. They worked their way back. Since March 1st, they're 12-3.
Dude, they're
they
cooking.
have been red hot. And it really is the goaltending. Because I looked at it and I was trying to figure out, obviously they get healthy, like Robert Thomas is back,
Dude,
Holloway's
he's cooking.
back.
Yeah.
They're both cooking.
Thomas has 6 goals in his last
Oh,
4
my goodness,
games,
it's
and he had a
crazy.
hat trick in there. So
He
awesome.
is cooking. Holloway, we've already talked about, has been a points monster.
Yep.
But Joel Hofer especially, 1.83 goals allowed per game in those 15 games.
That's insane.
The next lowest is 2.37.
Yeah.
And it's not like, because I checked the shot percentage and everything like that. They're about middle in the pack in terms of allowing shots. He is just holding his ground between the pipes. He is playing so well.
No, the guy's standing on his head, and you have to think like if they make the playoffs somehow, they're 6 points back with 5 games to play, so it's not likely. But you would imagine he's the starter. I mean, he's been
for
playing.
sure.
He's been playing leaps and bounds better than Binnington, who was your guy going into the season. I have to tip my hat to Hoffer because, like I said, he's absolutely just standing on his head. It's unbelievable.
And for a while, I forget exactly, it was decently early in the season, maybe a third of the way through. He was second worst save percentage in
Yeah,
the league.
him and Binnington were horrible.
He's now worked his way up to 8th. He's at 9-10 right now for the
Crazy.
season. And so that just shows, because he was in the mid 800s at that point.
Yeah.
He's worked his way up to 9-10. That just means he's been on an absolute tear. And so
Yep.
credit to the Blues. Like you said, it's an outside chance that they get into the wild card, but there is still a chance.
Yeah, they're still alive, and
And all you
there's
got to do
5
is get
games
in.
left.
All
Yeah.
you got to do is get in hockey. No one knows that better than the Blues, who did it in 2019, right?
Yep.
Like, this is just a case of, can we make up the ground, get some points? You need Nashville to lose. You need, what's the other team that just jumped?
LA.
Nashville, LA. So you need those teams to
Yeah.
lose. You got to pretty much win out. But can they thread the needle? That is just a storyline that I'm really excited
You're
to follow.
saying there's a chance. If there's a chance, man, crazy things happen when the playoffs roll around. So definitely pushing for the Blues to make that last push.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Ethan, as always, for doing this alongside
Thank you, man.
me. One
It was
more
a fun episode.
fun episode. You were out.
Yeah.